Hello, listeners, and welcome to Spooky Time with Mike and Mindy.
Hello.
Hi.
So, in this podcast, we're going to talk about our first thoughts about the trailer we watched for Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And read you the synopsis and just kind of give you our thoughts. And then we're going to go see it and then tell you what we thought. That's a lot of thoughts. Sorry about that. So you saw the trailer. What are your first impressions?
All right, I'm just gonna clear the air right now.
Okay.
I'm a huge Godzilla nerd. All right, this is like the secret that most people are like the most shocked to find out about me. I'm a huge Godzilla nerd. I like, yeah. So I'm just putting that out there just so everyone is not surprised by like, whoa, where's this coming from? What's this guy about? How does he know so much stuff?
Yeah, so he's pretty like biased and overly excited.
I am. I'm trying to be, temper that a little bit and not be all consuming, but you have to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just being honest about it. The trailer itself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who doesn't want to see all the classic monsters from the Godzilla franchise?
Yeah.
You got Godzilla, you got Mothra, you got King Ghidorah.
Yeah, they said that there's 17 monsters. So I guess, tell me, that's what makes it spooky then? Because they're just calling them monsters?
Oh, okay. So I thought we were thinking about the trailer first, but do you have any thoughts on the trailer before we...
I mean, I really don't, because I'm not a Godzilla person, which is why I'm kind of like, so why are we doing this on our podcast, and how is it even spooky?
Need to justify it to the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. How it falls into spooky, and we're gonna have an episode in the future called the spectrum of spooky, or the spooky spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but tell me how this, I don't know, lame dinosaur type thing is part of a spooky thing.
It is. It's a monster movie. That's plain and simple. It is a monster movie. Okay. Godzilla is a monster. It is a monster movie. Monsters are spooky. The original, spooky monster movie was King Kong, like the first one on the big screen. And, that was America's original monster movie. And then, Japan created their answer to it, which was Godzilla. So as far as, like, going back, they definitely were spooky for their time. Mm-hmm. Since then, the genres of like horror, scary, suspense movies have very much grown and evolved a lot. So monster movies now seem quaint by comparison and not really all that spooky. But I will defend it by saying that it is a little spooky. I mean, it does present danger, right? I mean,
but then isn't this more an action movie featuring a monster?
Nowadays, yes.
Okay.
I think that's more how they've transitioned. They're becoming more action focused, whereas they used to be more about spooky. I could pull examples of movies, but like they used to have more of an element of fear to them, and how this was a monster that was stalking you, going to get you.
Okay.
Nowadays, it's like, look at these big things punching each other.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Rampage, the video game from forever ago. Now just big monsters smashing into buildings and hitting each other.
Pretty much. Now that's like the video game-ization, if that's a term, of what they are now. But prior to, it was something to be afraid of. It was spooky.
All right. Well, I guess maybe this is more information for another podcast, another time, but I just wanted to make sure we addressed the spookiness of Godzilla before talking about Godzilla on a spooky podcast. So,
yeah, totally.
But let's jump into the synopsis. So the synopsis is The new story follows the heroic efforts of the cryptozoological agency Monarch as its members face off against a battery of god-sized monsters, including the mighty Godzilla, who collides with Mothra, Rodan, and his ultimate nemesis, the three-headed King Ghidorah.
Yes, it's Ghidorah.
When these ancient super species, thought to be mere myths, rise again, they all vie for supremacy, leaving humanity's very existence hanging in the balance. So, all I'm seeing from this is a bunch...
Action, action.
Yes. But I was going to say, so my experience with Godzilla is limited, even though my mom is a huge Godzilla fan, and my husband is obviously a big Godzilla
And your
fan.
father-in-law is a huge Godzilla fan.
Yeah, and I just never... My mom would have them on, and I would not pay attention, ever. Like the classic Japanese ones with subtitles, and I could not. But my brother did have a bunch of action figures, so I would always play as like Mothra because I thought it was like the cutest one, and like I remember him having the really cool one with all the multiple heads that was in the trailer. That's apparently the nemesis Ghidorah.
Ghidorah. King.
So
Ghidorah.
I mean, he doesn't have a crown. I don't know if he's a king or not.
Oh
I mean, it's not King Godzilla. So, like, why is it King...
No, it's Godzilla, King of the monsters.
Whatever. So, and then I also remember there being, like, a mechanical Godzilla that my brother would have, too. And I know he had other ones, but I don't remember.
There's also a Mecha King Ghidorah, yeah.
Sure.
But that's from the High Side series.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So you're being super nerdy and awesome. I love you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's really about my experience with those. I did see the Matthew Broderick movie, which I loved because there were baby Godzillas. Spoiler alert, I guess, if you don't know. And then also we did see the one that came out with the guy from Breaking Bad, and I don't really remember anything in that either, except it being red in parts, and there was a Godzilla guy, and I don't know, some sort of plant exploded, I think. But I'm like the worst person to talk about Godzilla, I guess. So
there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah,
there's so much to unpack.
Time.
Just really quickly.
Okay.
So I just want to, for the listeners, fun fact, I looked up to be a bit more knowledgeable. The 1998 Godzilla you're referring to was American made. So there's the original Japanese company Toho. The 1998 Godzilla was American made, and apparently Toho has retconned it to not be part of the canon.
Oh, so it's not part of
it
what
never
actually happened.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's the only thing that happened, and Godzilla has a bunch of babies running around like New York or something.
More opposite on this. The other Godzilla movie you were referring to was 2014's American remake of Godzilla, and that was Bryan Cranston. One thing we didn't mention in this new Godzilla movie, King of the Monsters, is that it stars, what's her name? From Stranger Things.
Millie? Bobby? It's right here. Millie
my.
Bobby Brown. I just don't know. Is
11.
it Miley or Millie?
11.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. Charles Dance.
Tywin in it?
Yeah, so
cool.
like that gets me excited because I love him.
It's going to be
and it's directed by Michael Dougherty, so tying in a bit of spooky, he directed Krampus and Trick or Treat. Krampus.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it wrong.
Stranger Things has been at Halloween Horror Nights 2 years ago, so I mean,
So kind of trying to tie it in, I guess. So
trying to tie it in.
Okay.
Right.
So Mike, what are you excited about?
Well, you've left me 30 seconds. So
no.
What I'm excited about.
Go a little longer.
Really quick. Pretty much we don't need to get into all the depths, but like I've been a big Godzilla fan my whole life. So just always excited to see like the newest one and what they do with it, whether it be like the actual canonical Japanese movies or whether it be the American versions of it, because it is always interesting kind of how the two are different for the different audiences, like what they'll make Godzilla out to be for the American audiences, which is big and boisterous and punching and fighting and action. That's which is, that's the American version, whereas the Japanese version is a bit more like we're giving you a message, and there's also elements of fear and reflection. So I'm just always excited to see the next one, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. We're seeing it on the Dolby Digital screen in Disney Springs when we go down to Orlando.
Yep, we'll be in Orlando. Mindy's there for
A work
a
trip.
work trip that happens to coincide with my birthday.
Yeah,
At least the start.
Yeah, so I'm excited because we saw Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet on the Dolby Digital screen, and that screen is huge and beautiful.
Why don't you give us some stats, Mindy?
Yeah.
Can you explain a bit more about that screen?
Yeah, so it's 500 times more contrast ratio compared to a standard projection. So it gives you pure black levels and twice the brightness. There's 3D sound, which supports 128 tracks, which I thought was insane. So you can actually hear like a bird flying around your head when you're there.
Just for reference, this podcast uses 2 tracks.
Yes. And then there's also 5 in-screen speakers, 48 surround sound speakers, plus 4 ceiling-mounted subwoofers. Plus, also, the chairs have transducers in them, so they actually rumble with the sound. So I'm pretty sure we're just going to be in, like, shaky massage chairs throughout this entire movie, because I just imagine monsters running around hitting each other and crazy noises and, like...
Oh my God.
That's what I'm excited for. I'm sorry I called them dinosaurs.
Well, depending on which version of the canon, Godzilla did start off as a dinosaur, so.
Okay, well then I'm partially correct, except for like the moth guy, and there's another flying one, right? There's Mothra
there's Rodan.
Wait, is he a bee or something? What one am I thinking of? Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Batra from the 90s?
I don't know. Well, that's when my brother bought the toys, so maybe.
Yeah, so he would have been.
Okay.
That
sounds right.
He would have been in the high sci age, like I was growing up.
Okay.
And that's Batra.
Okay, so there was another. But I did want to say that this movie is coming out May 31st of 2019.
The day after my birthday?
The day after Mike's birthday. It's PG-13, so, not gory, probably not enough swears for when you're getting attacked by a bunch of monsters. And it's 2 hours and 12 minutes. So it's a decent, long monster movie. So
Totally.
But I think it'll be fun. So, yeah. What do you think? Excited?
Oh,
ready for it?
Definitely excited. Really ready for it. I've been holding back this whole podcast
instead of just screaming
throughout
the entire thing.
Yeah. No.
And punching me in the face for being wrong. I mean, he doesn't abuse me. Everything's fine.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Sorry.
No.
He just hates my
just stares.
lack of ability of knowing.
Face palming sighs.
Yeah.
No, you didn't grow up with it. You didn't rewatch them all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How can that be held against you?
At least I'm going. So I gave up a massage for this, guys.
Oh,
That's how much I love him.
Go.
But yeah, when we get back, we will do the second half of this podcast. So if you want to avoid spoilers for the new Godzilla King of the Monsters movie, probably stop listening.
Prediction.
Yeah, okay.
Without actually knowing anything,
Okay.
I bet Godzilla wins.
You know what?
Prediction.
What if he doesn't?
This will be a very different podcast.
Yeah.
I bet he wins.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll check back in with you guys after the movie.
Certainly will. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Welcome back, listeners, and thanks for hanging in that musical interlude with us.
Yeah, we weren't able to share our thoughts on this yet because, like we said, we were going to be in Orlando for a work trip. So it's, obviously been a little over a week.
It has been.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to post our initial thoughts without the rest of it. So we wanted it to be a one episode self-contained.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're coming back to this a week after seeing the movie, actually, which is 2 weeks after we recorded our first thoughts. So
Yeah.
we've had a lot of time to think and process this. So hopefully the start of this will be kind of fun for you guys to, know what we were thinking ahead of time.
Yeah.
And because at this point, I'm assuming if you were going to go see it, you would have seen it by now.
Yeah. If you're a Godzilla fan, I don't think you would have waited.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah.
Because the only way to see Godzilla, Mindy, is on the big screen.
So we did see it on the Dolby Digital screen. Let's start with that part.
Yeah.
Spoilers throughout, just because I don't know if we're gonna spoil anything.
No, we're
spoilers.
we're in spoiler territory now.
So did you like seeing it on the Dolby Digital screen?
Like I just said, it's the only way to see.
Yeah.
The only way to see Godzilla or a Godzilla movie is as big of a screen as you can get, as loud as you can get. Like, this is definitely a franchise, a monster, and a movie where bigger is better. So
Right.
I think, just pick the biggest screen you can get to, and for us, we did.
Yeah, definitely. I was very immersed in this entire movie, and I feel like I normally get up to pee at some point during a movie, but not once did I even
And that's so
do
funny
that.
because I did.
Yeah. Yeah, like I did during the trailers, and probably TMI, but I was so immersed in this movie and everything that was happening because of the big screen and the sounds and the rumbly chairs, and like also the colors were amazing.
True.
On this screen. For the first bit of when you're sitting there before the movie actually shows, they show you the difference between like standard projection and Dolby projection, which I always find super fascinating and nerdy. And just seeing like the black levels and the details and all those things that come out on the Dolby screen,
and like
versus
the crispness of the
Yeah.
image and how vivid everything
Yeah.
is. My favorite part of that is where they like show they shoot the flames from the left side of the screen to
Yeah.
the right, and the left is like the standard and the right side is the Dolby,
Yeah.
and it's just like, wow.
Well, and you're like, where's that flame coming from? And then it zooms out with Dolby, and you can see there's like actually a guy in the darkness that you couldn't see with the normal projector. But I think it was totally worth, if you can see it on a screen like that, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. So do we want to talk really quick about how much money the movie made?
Yeah, so since it's taken us a bit to actually make this recording, it's been in the box office for a bit.
A week, a little over a week.
A little over a week at this point. So we would say that the budget, so kind of how you think about it, took $170 million to make it. In the United States, it's made $78 million. But when you factor in foreign, it's made close to $300 million at this point. So $294. So a return on that investment.
Yeah.
So which
So
is,
that bodes well for the
for
sequel
possibly
that they kind of alluded
the third
to.
one,
Yeah.
which has all but been confirmed now since the movie's come out. But
Yeah, so I mean, we can pretty much just talk about that part really quick.
yeah.
I didn't catch it at all. I saw Kong a few times when they were showing all the different monsters being unleashed throughout the world. And I was like, oh, hey, it's
It's the monkey guy.
yeah, gorilla. I don't know. So, because I don't know the monsters or anything, but I could tell, like,
Well,
they
and-
said Skull Island and stuff, and I was like, ooh, I saw that 3-hour plus long movie at midnight once, and that was a long movie.
Well, the movie you saw was the Peter Jackson one in 2005, whereas the one they
Yes.
were alluding to was the one that came out last year with Samuel L. Jackson in it.
So I do need to see that.
A different Jackson.
Still. But, so you said that they did show something at the end?
Yeah, well, they did talk about Skull Island, but then in the end, they were just kind of showing, like, cave drawings.
Sure.
And they had the cave drawing of Kong
Oh, okay.
against Godzilla.
And that was, like, the last thing they showed. I know that they were
It was
doing
like
that.
so like they were showing like different cave drawings that showed different monsters while putting out like the directed by, written, blah blah, and then that cave drawing of Kong was the last thing they showed before it just went black, and then the scroll of the rest of the credits.
Yeah, so I think that kind of really tells us that that's next.
This is happening for real.
Yeah.
Also, there is an IMDb page now for it, so King Kong vs. Godzilla is a go, folks.
So are you excited about that? Just talk quick about it.
Oh, man, talk quick. Well, I will talk very quickly about it, and I will say that King Kong vs. Godzilla was probably my favorite original or old or
like
hokey
classic
Godzilla.
Films.
Yeah, the 1960s Godzilla films. King Kong vs. Godzilla was like the best one from the Showa era. Yes, it was the best one by far.
Yeah.
Also a very interesting one because it's supposed to be Frankenstein was supposed to be the original villain instead of Kong, and they switched it out the last second and didn't really change the plot. But it's great. I hope they don't do that with this movie. I would
love to see that.
I hope it's a bit
Godzilla
smoother.
Versus Frankenstein. You know, I feel like that would make it spooky.
Well, Toho did do a follow-up of Frankenstein Conquers the World where he did fight a kaiju monster, but it wasn't Godzilla. But anyway.
Well, I want to see that.
And maybe we will.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm excited for King Kong versus Godzilla, and I'm going to have to watch the new King Kong movie because I haven't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think either of us are big King Kong fans.
Not big ones, but we have gone on the King Kong ride at Universal.
Yeah, that's true.
We do need to see the movie.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I'm going to circle back to our initial reactions. I actually took notes down in my phone when we were leaving the theater just so that I wouldn't forget what I initially was like, what's happening? So first of all, why does everyone think Godzilla is on their side? Like, everybody is like, oh, Godzilla's here to save us. And I'm like, dude is just super mad that his arch nemesis was awoken and trying to take over his world that he owns as the alpha monster guy. And everybody's like, he's here to save us. And then it's just like, no, he's just a more chill dude than this other King Ghidorah or whatever. And he's way more chill. He just likes hanging out. He's like an old dinosaur just hanging out in the water. He's like, whatever, guys, I don't need to be a part of this. You live your life, I'll live mine. And like, it's so annoying that all the humans the entire time are like, woo, Godzilla is here for us. It drives me nuts.
It is interesting though, especially because like, sure, he defeated those other monsters in the first, the 2015 Godzilla movie, and yet also destroyed San Francisco, which they immediately alluded to.
Right.
Like in the start of this one.
They did do a recap of the first movie at the beginning of this.
They did a great recap, which was so wonderful because I had not seen that movie in 4 years.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that.
Yes.
Quick
the
recap
entire
there.
crowd breathed a sigh of relief, where they were like, oh, thank God. Oh, man, I'm so glad that they just recapped what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it just drives me crazy that everybody thinks Godzilla is fighting for humanity when I really think he's just this alpha monster that, he's a chill guy.
He's got his own priorities.
Yeah.
And, like, we're living in his world.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was one of the characters mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's Godzilla's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah. And this King Ghidorah, I keep saying, is that right? King...
Well...
The guy with all the heads.
The Americans pronounce it Ghidra. But the Japanese pronounce it Ghidorah. So you can say Ghidorah, and that's correct.
So the one with all the heads that apparently is from outer space. Like, what?
Yes.
Who knew?
Did you not know?
I didn't know that.
Oh my God.
Apparently he's not an actual
His first real movie
monster,
is the Astro Monster.
Yeah, so I had no idea.
Well, spoiler alert for you, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, what do they mean he's not
space.
from here? Yeah. And I guess that's why he's,
He's not part of the natural order.
Yeah. But he's kind of a douche. So, like, he's just
King
like...
Ghidorah.
He's just, like, controlling all these other poor monsters trying to, like, sleep. Like, I love Tywin Lannister, Charles Dance, but he just like is like, let's just wake all these monsters up. So that's what happens is all these monsters get woken up, and then this King
Scooby-Doo,
guy,
Monsters Unleashed.
Yeah,
that should have been it. Godzilla,
dude,
Monsters Unleashed.
I love that movie. That is a spooky movie. So
Jinkies.
But
Okay.
I hated how he was controlling all the monsters, making them do his
Ghidorah.
bidding.
We're talking about Ghidorah now.
So circling back, I just was so upset about it. I get really upset when animals, even CG fake monsters, are in peril.
Yeah.
So
or like pitted against each other.
It just
against
makes me
their own
sad.
will. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So
okay. So he was a successful villain for you.
He was. He definitely was.
Good.
And also that bird one was like really scary, but I felt for him, because I knew he was being controlled.
Rodan.
But he was awesome because he was like all fiery and stuff. Is that like normal for him to be fiery?
Well, so in his introductory movie, Rodan, he comes out of a volcano.
Okay.
But
that happened.
But he's definitely not a firebird like he was in this movie, which is cooler.
I thought that was super awesome.
His powers in the original version of himself were more like his speeds, like hypersonic speeds, like breaking the sound barrier, massive winds,
normal bird Pokemon skills.
Yep, just that. So he was more of like a wind menace, not really like a fire
winged menace. Yeah. I feel like they just needed stuff that would blow up though, because there was a lot of things blowing up.
That too, and I really did appreciate, because Rodan in this movie wasn't from Mount Fuji like in the original Japanese movie. He was in Mexico, so he was more like a Quetzalcoatl, like a firebird.
Yeah.
Like cool. So I liked that take of him. And another thing too, I really wanted to say.
Yeah.
And it is going to be one of my favorite parts. We don't need to go into that just yet. But since we were on the subject of Ghidorah...
Yeah, no, let's get into our favorite parts. That's where we are.
The subject of Ghidorah...
Yeah.
I really liked that they had him, like, he was a storm, right? They were like,
I loved that.
We're tracking this massive tsunami. And they're like, it's no tsunami, that's Ghidorah. And I was like, whoa.
That was super cool. I loved how all of the monsters had elemental effects to them.
Yes.
Like, all of them did. They had... it was so beautiful. This movie was so pretty. So, I loved this movie. And as, like, a non-Godzilla fanatic, I don't know if that means a lot to people or not, but I thought it was awesome. Like, it was action-packed. It had everything you needed in this movie. Although... I think you had heard that some people were saying that there were too many monsters and not enough people, but I honestly just wanted more monsters. Like, I loved it. It was so awesome.
Could be more proud to be Verity, hon.
Yeah.
No, right. Well, that's one thing, that the critics were skeptical about the movie before it came out, thinking it'll be too monster-focused and not enough people-focused. And, surprised that's what most of the critics said, but a lot of the fans, and I agree, were just saying, like, no, too many people, not enough monsters.
Yeah.
And the critics were like, too many monsters, not enough people. And we're like, no.
I don't feel like there was plenty of people development because we did have a first movie.
Well, you need the people to move the story along.
Yeah.
Because we don't speak monster language.
Exactly. We need an understanding. We need people literally on the ground.
I like it. Yeah. And for the love of God, we don't want subtitled monster speaking, which does happen in a really... God, it was bad.
Oh my God.
It happens in a movie.
Oh my God, I want to watch that.
It happens in one of the old ones.
Because that sounds awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of them are real bad. But, yes, we don't want to do subtitles, so you need the people to move the story along, right? Yeah. That's my opinion of them. Yeah. You need the people to move the story along to explain why there's the monsters in the first place, what are they doing, where are they going, how are they getting where they're going.
Right.
So...
Right, definitely.
But yes, that was a critique.
Yeah, I mean, I could have used more monsters. So this movie was only 2 hours and 12 minutes long, and I honestly wouldn't have been mad if it was almost 3. Like, I felt like I got way more from this movie than I did from the King Kong that I remember seeing for 3 hours. I could have really benefited from more detail and background on the monsters than I think I got.
And now, I'm going to just touch on that real quick, which is that I think, the the big death scene, right? We're in the spoiler territory, so when Mothra dies...
Oh my god, I was devastated.
See, but I got close, but I wasn't there because they didn't, in my mind, take the time to really have you understand Mothra and why the sacrifice was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Because in all the previous Mothra movies, you have the twins who, like, are Mothra's voice, and they say, well, Mothra is telling us this, and Mothra is telling us that.
Well, and I feel like they kind of had that because there were the two
There was a
females.
sprinkle. Okay, this entire movie was just sprinklings and nods
for the fans
and tips of the hat and all of that stuff. So, like, if you were already a Godzilla fan, you got it. They were speaking a code language, and you picked up on it, and you knew exactly what was going on.
Sure.
But I think for some other people, you know, they didn't really, I don't know, they didn't make it clear that Mothra was supposed to be, like, the guardian and... you know, a pure spirit and, like, just wanted to do what was right and was making a sacrifice and all this other stuff.
I was bawling the entire time just because I'll cry at anything that, like, gets hurt. But, like, Mothra was so beautiful. Like, I'm so upset about it. I'm still upset.
It's okay. It's okay because in the credits they hinted
a rebirth of Mothra, which would make sense, right? Because if she's like the goddess of Earth or something, what seems to be my understanding
the
is
guardian,
there would be a circle of life that she must follow and a rebirth and everything for her to come back because she wouldn't just be gone.
No.
And
certainly not.
I mean, Godzilla, so in the beginning you were like, oh, I bet Godzilla wins. And then, like, he totally would have died. Like, or, like, not necessarily died. But they blew him up with this oxygen bomb, which of course didn't work on King Ghidorah, but it worked on Godzilla pretty well.
Speaking of which, the oxygen destroyer was the first weapon that did kill Godzilla in the first ever Godzilla movie.
Yeah, so another hint
nod
back, which was cool. For Mike, I didn't get it, but
that's okay.
Either way, Godzilla goes back to, like, his home territory, which I loved seeing, like, all this underwater.
Yeah, he had, like, a home.
It was like a City of Atlantis, but City of Godzilla underwater.
That was really cool,
which I thought was awesome.
That was super awesome.
Like, I loved all the detail and all that stuff, and but he went there, and it would have been a lot of time for him to rejuvenate his powers.
So they kickstarted him.
Yeah. So, but my point is that if the humans didn't get involved because they believed that Godzilla was their savior, which this whole place was built because they believed Godzilla was their savior the entire time.
Right.
You know, gosh, I lost my train of thought. But but he would have died, or not died, but the planet would no longer be what it was if the humans weren't involved. That was my point.
So my theory was that Godzilla would win.
Yes.
Which, at a basic level, he did.
He did,
but
win.
not
on
without,
his own. Not without human interaction, and not without
Mothra's
help. Sacrifice.
Not without a little help from his friends.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, Burning Godzilla, whatever that was.
Okay, that was, Mindy, one of your favorite parts.
That was one of my favorite parts. Like, he was like this lava rock monster Godzilla. I don't even know what was happening anymore in the movie at this point.
He got really jacked up on radiation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my gosh, and then he was glowing and stuff.
And he was getting towards meltdown.
Yes, that's right.
Which, again, another nod, because at the end of the 90s series, the Heisei series of Godzilla... he gets overloaded and turns burning red, and then he actually dies. Right. So, like, as soon as they brought him in, and they're like, "Oh, he's overloaded. He's over irradiated. He's turning red." I'm like, "Oh God, here it comes." I was like, "I don't know if I could do this again." Okay. And then he didn't.
Yeah, no, he didn't die.
And I was like, "Oh, that was close."
Yeah.
That was a rough one for me watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was one of your favorite parts.
That was, definitely. And also just when Mothra was, like, glowing, it was just so beautiful.
The colors were really good.
Like, see this on Dolby. Seriously, guys.
If you can, right? If you got one near you.
If you can.
It's not just in Orlando, so you might be able to find one.
Yeah.
But, I'll say one of my favorite parts was Charles Dance.
Yes.
So context, right?
As a whole.
As of this recording, Game of Thrones recently, in the last couple weeks, wrapped up and is now over.
Mm-hmm. So I guess spoilers for Game of Thrones? I need to say that? No?
No,
okay.
not spoilers, just that it's...
I mean, he died seasons ago, so...
Well, right, but he
we haven't seen him, you know, I haven't had that, like, that great commanding presence that Charles Dance can really get to.
Yes.
He's got that groove where he's just like, I'm gonna talk in my Charles Dance voice and you're gonna do what I tell you to and all this other stuff.
Yes.
And he totally pulled that out for this movie, and I was like, oh man, I miss Tywin so much.
Seriously.
He's such a good character, so I was so glad to get
He plays
those.
his characters and his villains so
Yes.
well. He's
Yes.
such a good actor.
Yes, which is why I want you to say Alien 3, but
Yeah.
that can be another one.
Yeah.
But, so that was one of my favorite parts too.
Yeah.
I was just really glad to get those
Literally a favorite part.
ooh, nice.
Yeah.
To get the little taste, little reminder of this awesome actor and the character. That
Since
he
we
can
are
get
going
to.
to talk a little bit then about actors and stuff,
Yes.
I thought Millie Miley, Bobby Brown, I thought she was awesome. Like,
no.
I thought she did a really great job. I mean, I didn't think she wouldn't do a good job. It's just that child actors kind of are all over the place, you know?
It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's
so,
hit or miss.
And it really depends on how the part is written for them and what they're having those characters do.
Agree.
And I think with what she was given, it was awesome.
Are you ready for a dissenting opinion?
Oh, no.
I'm
What?
gonna disagree with you a little slightly.
Why? Because she's stupid?
No.
Oh, because
no.
her character was stupid.
No. Well, I mean, I am just going to say that it might have been the writing and not
Yeah.
her. But man, it's like every scene she was in was like breaking down, upset, scream crying like the whole movie.
Dude,
and I'm
her
like,
parents were divorcing. The world was exploding. Monsters were being released upon the world.
I mean, like, come on.
I was crying.
Get a hold of yourself. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not saying now isn't the time to panic, but like it would have been nice to have her in a bit more scenes, or she could have been
But been more
remotely
chill.
composed.
Yeah, I mean, her little brother had died. Like, I mean,
know.
she had a lot.
I'm not
of
saying she
upheaval,
wasn't
so-
going through a lot.
Well, I
like,
thought it was cool at the beginning where they showed her and her mom, like, in this home, everything was, like, trying to be normal, but then they were really, like,
and they like turned to the left. They're like volcano
they were
area
at a base
where
for one of the monsters.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And
'Cause
I
I'm
was like,
oh, they're in San
whoa.
Francisco. Nope, they are not.
Yes. I thought there was just a lot of really great scenes. I thought the movie flowed really well. I loved it overall. So would you recommend the movie as a Godzilla fan?
As a Godzilla fan, of course, it's another install of Godzilla, and even the bad ones, Godzilla fans
You're
will
just
watch.
through and through,
You're
no matter
you're
what.
gonna
a Godzilla
watch them
fan.
all. You're gonna watch Godzilla's Revenge, right? It doesn't matter. You're gonna watch it and you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think from a Godzilla fan perspective, yes, see it. I definitely took out of it so much because even if you don't like how they're portraying Godzilla now and you want to get hung up on it, fine, whatever. There's enough in there, like the motifs, the musical themes that they sprinkle in, all the nostalgia. Like you'll get those good brushes and you'll get those reminders of why you love this franchise in the starting place, in at the beginning. So it's it's worth watching.
Yeah.
So from the non-obsessed point of view,
Yeah. The person that gave up a massage for this view.
was it worth giving up the massage?
Yes and no. I wish we had rescheduled the massage for a different time.
Yeah.
And done both. Because both
Why
would have
not
been
both?
awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
We just didn't have the time this trip there. But absolutely, I actually want to watch it again. And I told, I thought I told you when I left, like, if my mom wants to go see it, like, we should go with her. But I think she already went and saw it without us because she's a fan. So, but I loved it. I want to watch it again. This makes me, so Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series, brought me into Star Wars. I loved the entire universe. It took me into a whole new world. That's what I feel like this movie did for me, is it introduced me to a vast majority of the monsters and things you meet in Godzilla films, and it makes me want to know more. It makes me want to watch more movies and understand and, like, just get into it and become, maybe, I don't want to say a big Godzilla fan, but become more knowledgeable about the Godzilla universe or whatever it's called.
It's intrigued you into wanting to know a bit more about it.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, so we'll say this was a successful movie.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I will, however, say that it is not spooky. I still stand by that.
Ooh.
While it's a bunch of monsters, I just don't think it's spooky. I think it's just an action movie featuring monsters. But it was super fun doing this podcast either way, and I loved it. So.
Wow.
But maybe if we delve into more of the Godzillas that you were mentioning, I can understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So we could look at it from like a franchise perspective, not movie by movie.
Right.
Not every movie's going to be spooky.
Right.
But overall, I think it tilts more towards the spooky than the not.
Yeah.
And I will say this, at least in this movie, there were definitely some like suspenseful moments, harrowing moments, but not necessarily suspenseful like what's going to happen next. Like there were some like jump out of your seat moments.
Yeah.
There were
literally get rumbled out of your seat moments.
That. But there were some of those things where you're just like, oh jeez.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I get it. Thematically, it wasn't spooky.
Right.
But there were elements. There were aspects.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So yeah, I mean, I think that wraps up our Godzilla King of the Monsters review.
Yeah. Wow, it's already over.
It's over.
I could keep going, but we should probably...
We're going to stop. So thanks for listening.
We're going to stop.
To Spooky Time with Mike and Mindy. Literally pull the mic.
Because that's my name.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, thanks everyone for listening. And
stay spooky, San Francisco, because...
Spooky. Oh,
I don't know.
that's one of the cities.
Yeah, that's one of the cities.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
All right, bye.
Bye.